Join me as we talk all things true crime.
Made contact and shattered.
The missing 4-year-old. The parents have called in and advised that the mother has went for a walk, came home, now they can't find her.
Chad, where are Lori's kids? They've been missing for 4 months. You have nothing to say?
4 were stabbed multiple times and were likely asleep during the attack. Some had defensive wounds.
Most of them had just like one that was the lethal stab wound.
Oh, what a tangled web we weave. Once I told a lie, and I told my family, I had to keep lying.
What's your, is it deemed?
We haven't cleared anybody.
Hey everybody, thank you so much for being here for another ATS News live stream. I see Johnny is serving up tacos, Taco Tuesday. Thank you so much, Johnny. And there's also tea that he is serving for everybody also in chat. And it's good to see everybody. Tony, Zoe, Adrian, Melly's here. Debbie Fox is here. We have some stuff to go through. So what I wanted to start with is, first off, let me know if the sound is okay. And if you have any information about Sebastian Rogers, please, please, please call 1-800-TBI-FIND. Lady Sarah says, just saw a notification and still awake here in cloudy Scotland. Oh, really? It's cloudy there? It's very hot here. We just got back from the pool and it started to rain. So it's a little bit cloudy right now too. But it's good to see everybody. Find Summer's Truth, Keenly. Good to see everybody. All right. So thanks, Johnny. Okay. So I think this is the first interview that was put out on YouTube. We are going over the Duchess interview. I commented on Duchess's one of her videos and asked her if it was okay. And she said, absolutely. I will link the video in the description box. We're just trying to keep Sebastian's name out there without all the drama attached to it. So first, before we get started into the interview, we are going to read some updated articles. And when I say updated, this one is from the 12th. And then there's a video that I also want to play that was from a day ago. So let me play the newest and then we'll work our way backwards. So we will start with, okay, now this is 5 days ago. We're going to play that one too. Now, again, law enforcement hasn't really spoken much. Of course, I just pulled up the same one. They have stated there is no sign of foul play, but everything is on the table and nothing is ruled out. So foul play could still be involved and they're keeping it as an option. But right now, they just don't have anything solid as far as what they think it actually happened, who's involved, no person of interest, no suspects named. Hey, Pointer Lover and Dustin, good to see you guys. If you guys could just, hey, Harley, hit the thumbs up. It helps the channel, but it also spreads awareness on this case. So this came out a day ago. It's claiming new information. We'll see. Haven't watched it yet, so it'll be a live reaction. It's only 25 seconds, so let's see what it has to say.
We also have new information after a search for missing teenager Sebastian Rogers. His father holding another search Thursday. Now, officials telling News 2 they wrapped today after 4 days of searching. Investigators also say they covered at least 20 miles on the Cumberland River and used side imaging sonar in their search. Now, we do know some things of interest were found, but they did not go into detail on what exactly they were.
Interesting. So some things of interest were found. Hold on. Got to rewind that. It's only 25 seconds.
At least 20 miles on the Cumberland. 4 days of searching. Investigators also say they covered at least 20 miles on the Cumberland River and used side imaging sonar in their search. Now, we do know some things of interest were found, but they did not go into detail on what exactly they were.
Very vague, very, dare I say, mysterious, which is sort of what this case has become. It's very much like, how does a 15-year-old boy just vanish into thin air? I think it's got a lot of people just hooked on this case because it's just not making sense. So I hope that that was a successful search. They said that they found some things of interest. So I'm very curious what that's about. So this is from last week. We'll see what this says. It says search crews narrow down locations in effort to find Sebastian Rogers. So they're narrowing down areas that, you know, they've checked off places that they're not going to check again, and these are other places of interest.
A father refuses to give up on his missing son. 15-year-old Sebastian Rogers disappeared nearly 5 months ago, and his father, Seth, is still searching. Good evening and welcome to News 2 at 6. I'm Bob Mueller.
And I'm Haley Wilkes. Sebastian's father told News 2's Caitlin Quisenberry they're operating this like a recovery effort, even though he believes Sebastian is still alive.
Memorial Park was one of the first places Seth Rogers tells me he searched for his son, Sebastian. He says this place is Sebastian's favorite.
Almost 2 months ago, this bridge was lit up in Sebastian's favorite color, green, in hopes of his safe return home. At that time, he had been missing for 2 months. Today, the search continues, almost 5 months later.
People think that we're not searching anymore. Well, they can think whatever they want. Our searches are private.
Seth tells me after a herniated disc surgery, it is back to boots on the ground. He says today, over 40 searchers, vetted by his private investigator, will be eliminating locations Sebastian could be in Middle Tennessee.
Now I don't really have much stopping me from getting out there and doing what I need to do.
There's a refocus. We're trying to zero in on more specific information that we are gathering.
Seth tells me his search parties have become invite only due to chaos at previous searches.
They're private because we learned last time. You know, we had people following my searchers around that were just handing out flyers, and it doesn't bode well for people who are trying to help to be put into hostile situations.
But he says the goal today is not to find Sebastian.
The search that we're doing today is a recovery effort, and I'm praying that we don't find him.
Seth says he believes his son is alive, but he added some people still don't know Sebastian is missing.
We have to continue to hand out flyers until everybody knows.
Seth and Tony tell me they have one unanswered question for the Sumner County Sheriff's Office.
We think it's a valid question. We think it's a fair question. And that question is, are you any closer today to finding Sebastian Rogers than you were February 26th?
And for Seth, the answer to that question is no.
My son's not here, so we're nowhere closer.
If you have seen Sebastian or have information about his whereabouts, call the Sumner County Sheriff's Office or the TBI. Those numbers are listed on our website, WKRN.com.
All right. Now let's pull up this article I want to read through. He is alive. Sebastian Rogers' biological father continues search efforts. Hendersonville, Tennessee, a new search for missing Sumner County teen Sebastian Rogers was held Thursday. Again, this is from the 12th, so last week. His biological father, Seth Rogers, is making sure he scouts out every possible location where his son could be. Seth told News 2 that he is not sharing a lot about the search due to worry over continued harassment, which we've all seen take place. And the thing is, too, is Seth has admitted that everybody is still a suspect and nobody is cleared. So I think that it's one of those situations where, yes, there is harassment being taken place, but I think everyone is just kind of eyeing everybody at this point. I mean, this has been going on since the end of February. People think that we are not searching anymore, Seth said. Well, they can think what they want. Our searches are private. So this is basically an article based on the video we just saw. Sebastian, 15, disappeared February 26, almost 5 months ago. Since then, the Sumner County Sheriff's Office, along with other agencies, searched for a little over a week before officials said they were scaling back to focus their efforts on the investigative side. Other organized searches have since been held with no sight of Sebastian. However, on Thursday, July 11th, Seth resumed his search efforts. He told News 2 he took a brief break in searching to get a herniated disc repaired, but after a successful surgery, Seth said nothing is stopping him from searching for his son. Now I don't really have much stopping me from getting out there and doing what I need to do, Seth explained. There's a refocus, Tony Mathis, Seth's spokesperson, said. We are trying to zero in on more specific information that we are gathering. And what information is that, Tony? According to Seth, over 40 searchers vetted by his private investigator on Thursday morning eliminated possible land and water locations where Sebastian could be in Middle Tennessee. He said volunteer searchers privy to the continued search efforts are limited due to people following and searchers being harassed at other events. We had people following my searchers around who were just handing out flyers, Seth described. It doesn't bode well for people who are trying to help to be put in hostile situations. In Thursday's search effort, Seth said the goal is not to find Sebastian. I think that he's alive, but the search that we are doing today is a recovery effort. Seth explained, I am praying that we don't find him because he's alive. I think that these searches are targeted with more specific information, and we are just hoping that we can get out in clear areas, Mathis said. As Seth said earlier, we are hoping to find nothing, but we do have to clear areas out. Seth added, some people still don't know Sebastian is even missing. I'm going to continue to hand out flyers until everybody knows, Seth said. And you know who isn't really talking to the media and handing out flyers from what I know of? I think you guys know. A lot of people have been kind enough to continue to plaster the community with flyers, Mathis explained, but we are getting messages from people that people are stopping in and asking those to be taken down at businesses. They are actually stopping and taking off the telephone poles. We just can't wrap our brains around why you would take a flyer down of a 15-year-old child that is still missing. Seth and Mathis told News 2 that one unanswered question for the Sumner County Sheriff's Office. We think it's a valid question, Mathis explained. We think it's a fair question. And is that, are you any closer to finding Sebastian Rogers than you were February 26th? For Seth, the answer to that question is no. My son is not here, so we are nowhere closer. Sebastian is 5 foot 5 inches, 120 pounds, with dirty blonde hair. He was last seen on Monday, February 26th, near Stafford Court wearing a black sweatshirt and black sweatpants, said the TBI. So that's the thing that I get so confused on, because I thought he was last seen Sunday night, but this isn't even the only article that keeps saying Monday. Can anyone please explain that to me? All right, so again, no new information from law enforcement, unfortunately, and I know that Seth has been hoping that the FBI will take over, but at least he's doing more than other people are doing. That's exactly what I was kind of getting at is, you know, if I was the mother, I would be on every platform, TikTok, etc., just trying to get his face and name out there. There really are. I mean, I talk about these cases with my family. Nobody knows Sebastian Rogers. So, I mean, that's another reason why, hey, Allie, good to see you. That's another reason why I just feel the need to really dig into this case, because I've already started it and I just can't let go of it just yet. Oh, Brooks, thanks for becoming a member again. Appreciate you. Oh, really, Allie? Thank you. I'm in my pajama shirt. Yeah, Seth at least tries to find his son, unlike the other two. Exactly. And that's the thing too. It's like, why have they been so quiet? I was sort of saying this in Justin's chat the other day. It's like, hey, Delana, they haven't spoken out in a while, hasn't it been? I don't understand that. And yet Seth is out here doing interviews all the time. I don't know. Thank you, Allie. Appreciate that. Feeling much better in this trimester in pregnancy than the first one. The excuse that CP used as to why Katie isn't out there is because law enforcement told them that he probably is deceased. It's been too long for him to survive on his own, so they just moved on. Yeah, I mean, like those articles and stuff were stating that this is a recovery process. And, Seth is like, I hope we don't, stumble upon him, because I want to believe that they are still alive. But even before this whole recovery thing has been floating around, I've never seen them really out there. I mean, even Don and Candace put on a little show and did some searching. Kids just don't vanish. I'm thinking the other two don't want to find him, in my opinion. The other two are just out living their best life. Yeah, what's going on? I don't even wear makeup, but I can't help but notice your lip color. It's so pretty on you. Thank you. It's two. I got like a lip liner and then some other color. I don't even know the brands. They're probably expired too. I hold on to makeup longer than I should. Yeah, they just don't. I don't know. It's very confusing. It doesn't look good. I agree, Pointer Lover. I hope that we're wrong, but I think the other two know where he is. Heather, you gave me a good compliment earlier in chat. I didn't get a chance to pull it up, but thank you so much for that. And thanks for being here. She said the other two know the truth, in my opinion. It seems that way. It really does. So again, we're just sitting back. It's been 5 months. What's going on? We don't know. Nobody knows where this kid is. Allegedly, nobody knows. So let me pull up again. I asked Duchess if it was okay. She said I could play any of the interviews of hers that I wanted. We're going to start here. I skipped to where Katie joins the panel. It's 23 minutes in. I will link this in the description box as well, in case you guys want to watch the entire thing without waiting for me to kind of go through it with commentary. This was, let's see the date. 4 months ago. I want to say this is the first interview that she did on YouTube, but I'm not 100%, but this is definitely one of the first. Also, there are parents who will do interviews and search and will be knowing the entire time what happened. That's true. So even if they were out there searching, I mean, just like other cases, like I had mentioned earlier, it can all be an act, right? I feel they know where he is. Someone knows something, in my opinion. Absolutely. Hey, Bean Bio Girl, you're fine. We just kind of started. We listened through some updated stuff. There was a 25-second, quote unquote, new information. Let me just see. This right. I don't know what it means, but they're claiming it's new information.
Missing teenager Sebastian Rogers. His father holding another search Thursday. Now, officials telling News 2 they wrapped today after 4 days of searching. Investigators also say they covered at least 20 miles on the Cumberland River and used side imaging sonar in their search. Now, we do know some things of interest were found, but they did not go into detail on what exactly they were.
So we're all confused what all that means. Thanks for no information. Geez, why even publish this clickbait? Somebody said. I guess we still don't know what we don't know. Things of interest, question mark. Do not ask Katie or Chris, does it belong to Sebastian? Their answer is going to be no every time. Things of interest, what is it? Just ask the mom where he is. Somebody said, JLR, total scam. Those clowns didn't find anything of interest. They are scamming for donations and attention. Oh, snap. Let's see. Seth, his father, is scamming for donations. I just watched, and from what I understand at the end, it was officials that found some things of interest, not Seth. Or am I misunderstanding that? Yes, that's exactly what he's doing, grifting, and it's ridiculous. More money. Did he take some clothes out of the bag that he has in his trunk? That's what I wish they'd clarify. Yes, and giving money to have female company. Yes, they said investigators, JLR is just a hater that needs to go away. JLR, a hater? Dude, JLR rocks. Never. Okay, yeah. I mean, they did say officials, so they didn't say that Seth found things of interest. But again, why even say anything if they're not going to explain? So I don't know what to think. We can only believe so much from the media anyways, right? Seth was a searching, not any officials searching. They were saying something about using side sonar, though. Seth's using side sonar? I don't know. I don't understand. So it said his father's doing a search on Thursday. Officials wrapped up 4 days of searching. Investigators also say they covered 20 miles. So this is very much sounding like it was different than just Seth. So how do we know that the news messed up? That's what I'm so confused on, because this guy's quoting it as if investigators told them. This is another thing too, is like, I feel like in certain cases, they leak information and then they try to retract it. Like, no, we don't want that out there. So now I don't know what to think. So I don't know. I don't get it, because it said that he's going to start his search on Thursday, and this came out yesterday. And why is the news quoting investigators? Investigators say. So I'm confused, because it's talking about investigators say and officials this and that. So I don't know. You guys let me know what you find out about that with receipts. And what I mean is, like, if they misconstrued, like, show me where they've misconstrued. Oh no, I don't listen to Tony. Per Tony, when they spoke to the news, they reported went to higher up and wording got messed up. I don't know. Yeah, they have retracted information before. Yeah, the ones that aren't searching knows what happened. Seth and Tony reported it all to the news. So then why is this news station saying officials state and investigators say? Not sure why they used investigators unless they meant the PIs. I don't know. I can't try and say that this is meaning something else when it's just stating it pretty vaguely. Officials and investigators, like, I don't know. I don't think that they would call PIs investigators. Yeah, 5 months have passed. We pray for a miracle. Exactly. Very confusing, though. I don't know, because the way that they just said all that is that Seth's search is starting on Thursday. I don't know. Your guys' guess is as good as mine. They scaled back. They didn't stop. And apparently they said that it's going to be a recovery process. And then one of the articles that we listened to and read was that they've narrowed down places that they are looking. Okay, let's just listen. We didn't get any new information. He hasn't been found. I don't know why that whole segment for 25 seconds says new information. Very confusing. Seth has searched for 4 days. They will resume on Thursday. Okay, so then what officials and investigators are they referring to? Because I don't think PIs are officials. I don't know. Your guys' guess is as good as mine. I'm very confused by it all. Yeah. And what definitely isn't new is the parents out there, Chris and Katie. That much we know. Hey, Roxanne, good to see you. Glad you're here. Very odd, though. Maybe the media is just desperate for information just like we are, and they're just taking what they can get from Sebastian from Seth and putting it out as new information. I don't know. It's like everybody's just trying to keep up with getting the views and clicks on this case, and it is very confusing and it's very disturbing. I agree there. But that's the thing too, is just because other people exploit this case doesn't mean that I'm just going to stop talking about it. So that's why we're going back and reviewing things. And I don't necessarily think that channels are 100% exploiting it. I think that it's just a case that people are very confused on and they don't want to give up because we all just want information. Yes, exactly. Everyone is desperate for info and everyone wants the story first, and it is a mess, sadly. It is, but what would be more of a mess is if people just stopped talking about it, in my opinion. Has anyone seen the billboards that Chris said is up and down on the interstate? I've yet to see one pic of a billboard. I don't think I've seen any pictures, at least, let alone billboards. That would be interesting to see. I mean, I'm in all the Sebastian Facebook groups. I don't think I've recall anyone posting a picture of one. Someone knows something. Exactly. It might be two people that know something too. I don't know. It's very unsettling, and the climate in this case is even more unsettling. And I feel like some channels are like, oh, it's a mess, blah, blah, blah. But they're just boycotting speaking about the case because other channels that they don't like are speaking about the case. So it's become like this whole like divided thing. It's like, let's just keep his name and face out there. And again, I only go live for like an hour and a half. So we won't be sitting here for hours and hours on end going through things. We're going to break up this interview. There's a second interview on Duchess's channel as well. I've been looking for the billboards. I haven't seen anyone post them. I feel if someone isn't helping find someone, they know something. In my opinion. Yeah, what mother is not out there? I don't understand it. Even if she's not searching because they've told them it's a recovery process, why is she not out there pleading for law enforcement to find the perpetrator that took her son? I know that there's some out there we discussed on another panel. I can't remember, and people have seen them. Okay, interesting. I'd love to see a picture of one. I know this is so sad. We're going on 5 months. Exactly. I'm glad someone is searching. Terry Lynn and Seth, that's all we have seen searching. Yeah, the drama is disgusting. It is. Those blip boards rotate thousands of ads all day, impossible for drivers to remember anything that was blipped. Yeah, it's not the best way to reach people, I think. That's why social media, that's why any media, that's why I'm confused why the mother isn't making more pleas. If they've told the family, like you guys have stated, that it's a recovery process, why are they not saying like law enforcement needs to catch this person? Because now law enforcement is telling me this is a recovery process. Yes, how do you do a 4-hour show with no new information on the case? Listen, I can sit here and talk about Watts and Scott Peterson and all these other closed cases for 4 hours, but I got things to do. But I don't, not to like diminish what you just said. Why does it matter what people choose to do? That's where I guess I don't understand why people are like so outraged. It's like we're keeping somebody's name and face out there who is missing. Who cares how long they sit on a stream for? How does it affect you at the end of the day? Not to be rude to anyone in chat saying that. That's my stance on it. That's my opinion. And I know not everybody agrees. And then another thing I don't understand is people who stream the people's 4-hour streams on their channel, like they're re-streaming it and then they're criticizing it. It's like, why even give it the attention? Oh, because you need content too. Sorry, that's just my point of view on it. I know people don't agree with it, but that's just me. So let's start here. 4 months ago, first interview, Katie is not on camera. The fact that she's not on camera, I know that there are a lot of other missing. Yes, that's the thing, is there are other people who are missing that need the attention. I do agree with you there. I do. And I think that those people, the other people who are missing, need their own streams too. Like not just, let me share this flyer. Because even myself, I share missing people's flyers in my Facebook groups all the time. If you're in my Facebook groups, you'll see that I'm sharing these missing children, these missing people all the time. But I just don't think that that's even enough either, you know, like, and the people who are outraged at people, quote unquote, exploiting this case, why aren't you sharing the other people that are missing instead of restreaming these people that you're, quote unquote, annoyed with? But again, that's just me. Days before this search was announced by Seth, certain creators were accusing Seth and certain volunteer rescuers of planting evidence in Sebastian from the clothes and belongings from Seth's home. Ugh, that's terrible. That is really terrible. I hope that that's not true. I'd rather hear facts than rumors and drama. And thank you, Tony, because if I decide to sit here and have drama talk, I'd get 300 people in my chat. But I just can't do that. And I really appreciate you and other people who do show up for just the facts, because that's what I really try to stick to. Hey, Holly, good to see you. All right, let's get into it. All publicity is good publicity. It's showbiz saying, but it applies for missing people too, it seems to me. Right. And you know, it's like if they want to stream on their channels for 4 hours with no new information, then at least he's still being talked about. And then I guess you could argue, well, the people who restream it and criticize it are still keeping Sebastian's name out there. Yes, it's true. But then they're the same people who will be like, but there's other missing people who need this attention. Then why don't you focus on those other missing people instead of restreaming this one, complaining about people who sit on there for 4 hours? To me, it's just counterproductive. The parents are crap, in my opinion. Yeah, I mean, let's be honest. It doesn't seem like he was handed the best situation on both sides, mother and fathers and stepfather. And we went through Chris's ex-wife Nina's interview. I think that was the last stream we did on Sebastian. We were kind of recapping what she had to say. And let's be honest, it's troubling what they had to say about Chris, what she had to say. And I think that it's all relevant.
Guys will please welcome Sebastian's parents to.
I am also annoyed that they're not on camera because it's so easy for you to kind of hide your facial expressions and your mannerisms and things that we kind of like to see. And I don't know. In this interview, we'll listen. You can hear Katie, quote unquote, crying. We've never seen Katie with wet tears. Unless you guys have seen it, point me in that direction. I've seen her make like cringe, like the faces, like she's crying, but I haven't seen anybody or her with like really wet tears. But on this interview, she doesn't have her camera on, and yet she's quote unquote crying. Yeah, stop hiding. Sherry says it's fake. Yes, it's sad, Kelly. It's really sad. All right.
The live stream. Thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate you joining us.
You're welcome.
We had a really good conversation today, and I appreciate you being willing to talk to me about Sebastian going missing. So I guess I will just kind of start out with, tell me what happened the day that Sebastian went missing. I know that his mom said that he was having a good day. He had had a great weekend. So do you want to walk us through what that looks like again for everybody?
He did have a really good weekend, actually. When we come home from having supper that evening, he was playing. When he went to bed, when I told him to go to bed, he said, "I love you, Mama," and he said, "I love you, puppies." A little later in the evening, I myself went to bed, and when I went to wake him up for school, he wasn't here.
And you did tell me that Sebastian is not a runner.
He's not.
It's okay. Take your time.
And now I hate to be somebody to be like, she's faking it, because we don't know. There's no camera on. But like, playing devil's advocate, wouldn't it be so much easier to kind of fake emotions and crying if your camera's off? I'm just throwing that out there. Now, this next little part, we've kind of listened to on other streams. I think it's very, very important to kind of listen to again. So
Sebastian does not have a history of running. I mean, the young man doesn't go outside very much. I mean, everybody in the neighborhood knows him. He is very to himself, so to speak. Between the hours of 12 and 6, he has basically vanished. Walked out of the house.
So 12 and 6 is the hours that Chris is telling everybody that something happened. And then he says he walked out of the house. They always push this whole, I don't know why he walked out the door. Did he? Because it doesn't seem like the authorities are feeling like he walked out the door. Do you guys believe that things happen between 12 and 6? So midnight, 6 a.m. And do you believe that he walked out the door? Yeah, why does Chris take over each time? As soon as she introduced them, she was like, thank you guys for being here. And he was like, you're welcome, or whatever. It's like, oh God, Chris, you again? Katie says, nope. Find Summer's Truth says no scent trail. Sherry says no. Right. Oh, yes. Sweet, crazy. This interview, I'm glad you brought that up, is one of the first ones ever put out there on YouTube. The thud is not mentioned. How do you suddenly add in all these other interviews with mainstream media, the thud? That cry sounded like NK's cry. NK is the mistress in the Watts case, in case nobody knows. Very sketchy individual. He is controlling person. I can feel it in my opinion. Yes. I have about 6 theories. Oh, that's 6 more than what I have because I just have no idea what happened. Walked out the door carried by CP and KP in a bag. Oh my gosh. I don't believe he walked out by himself. They are deaf tryhards. Yeah. That's not really true. Someone that knows them said Sebastian ran and hid behind a register at a grocery store when CP was treating him badly in public in a store. Oh, what do you know? Something that they said isn't true? I don't believe it. Right. The Goodnight Puppies has always stayed consistent, hasn't it? Yeah, they seem to adapt their script as time went on. And that's what I've been saying, Find Summer's Truth. And other people are like, their stories haven't changed. What are you talking about? Because again, in Duchess in this says, and nothing was out of the ordinary. We'll hear it. And they said, yeah, nothing, seemed out of the ordinary. But then all of a sudden a thud is put in. That's out of the ordinary.
House door was locked and gone.
He didn't take a phone. None of his shoes are missing.
Now, you told me that night now, Chris, you were at work. You were out of town.
He didn't take a phone. None of his shoes are missing. Okay. She's speaking as if he ran off. He walked off. He didn't take his phone. None of his shoes are missing. Okay. So that to me doesn't sound like he walked out the door. So she's going to talk about, Chris, you were at work, blah, blah, blah.
Town at work,
Yes,
so you were not even home.
Correct, ma'am.
And Mom, you fell asleep on the couch about 10 o'clock, but you said that Sebastian went to bed at 9 p.m.
I've been trying to point this out so long, and it seems like people aren't like hearing what I'm hearing. She said, Mom, you fell asleep on the couch around 10, and you said that Sebastian went to bed around 9. But where did all this, I'm studying, hey, Melly, I was reading my book for school, I was on the couch. Where is all that coming from? Because they seem to have replaced this whole you fell asleep on the couch around 10 with she was studying and she was on the phone with Chris. So I'm very confused. Hold on. Let me rewind that. You guys know I'm kind of stuck on this little falling asleep at 10 because all of us, I don't think that she mentioned studying in this interview too. We'll listen.
He was playing. When he went to bed, when I told him to go to bed, he said, I love you, Mama. And he said, I love you, puppies. A little later in the evening, I myself went to bed. And when I went to wake him up for school, he wasn't here.
And you did tell me that Sebastian is not a runner.
He's not.
It's okay. Take your time.
Sebastian does not have a history of running. I mean, the young man doesn't go outside very much. I mean, everybody in the neighborhood knows him. He is very to himself, so to speak. Between the hours of 12 and 6, he has basically vanished. Walked out of the house, the door was locked and gone.
He didn't take a phone. None of his shoes are missing.
Now, you told me that night that, now, Chris, you were at work. You were out of town at work,
Yes,
so
ma'am.
you were not even home.
Correct, ma'am.
And Mom, you fell asleep on the couch about 10 o'clock, but you said that Sebastian went to bed at 9 p.m. And then you got up off the couch and you went to bed, and you said that was around midnight.
Midnight.
And
So, from my understanding, hearing that, Katie spoke with Duchess before the stream, told Duchess he went to bed at 9. I was falling asleep on the couch around 10, and then I went to bed later. So, oh my gosh, Pointer Lover, you took the words right out of my mouth. He's lying. Some of the neighbors didn't even know a child lived there. Exactly. We heard that from the neighbor. Remember we went through the neighbor's interview? The one that she did with JLR, and you guys were all like, this is ridiculous. There's nothing that we're gathering from this. And I ended up agreeing with you. I'm like, yeah, this was just like, we listened to it. But yeah, nothing of substance kind of came from it. What do you know? Hindsight. We're looking back on their first interview on YouTube, and he says something that's contradicted by a neighbor. Nobody knew him. So here we go. Where is the thud? Where is I was on the couch studying? Haven't heard any of that. And then she, as soon as Duchess says this whole, like, you said that you were falling asleep at 10, Chris is going to interrupt and be like, well, let's get something straight or something like that. You'll hear
night that, now, Chris, you were at work. You were out of town at work,
Yes,
so
ma'am.
you were not even home.
Correct, ma'am.
And Mom, you fell asleep on the couch about 10 o'clock, but you said that Sebastian went to bed at 9 p.m. And then you got up off the couch and you went to bed, and you said that was around midnight.
Midnight.
And nothing was unusual at that point. Everything seemed okay.
There's actually a piece of, so to make something very crystal clear, so that way there's transparency across the board. Me and the mom were on the phone at 9:43 or 9:46 in the evening.
Me and the mom were on the phone from 9:43 or 9:46 in the evening. So where is this whole you fell asleep on the couch at 10 coming from? And then she says, and around midnight you went to bed and nothing was out of the ordinary. And they, they don't dispute it. Where is this thud? Isn't the thud unusual? Isn't that something that was unusual that took place? They claim that that was around 10 o'clock. Yet in this first interview, no thud mentioned. Duchess says nothing was out of the ordinary around midnight when you went to bed. They don't dispute it. And then all of a sudden their story kind of changes. And she's not falling asleep at 10 on the couch. She's on the phone with Chris, and he wants to make that crystal clear.
We stayed on the phone for quite some time. The call logs have been verified by all the police departments, TBI included. We stayed on the phone. It was very lengthy. Mom did slightly start falling asleep while she was on the couch. I had said, hey, you need to wake up, put the dogs up, go to bed.
And I love how he has to reiterate that law enforcement has confirmed their phone call. Like, okay, just because law enforcement confirms you were on that your phone was on a call for 3 hours, that means absolutely nothing as far as what was really taking place. Exactly, Skinny. He never mentions the thud. She told Duchess she was falling asleep at 10. He says that they were on the phone at 9:45. How is all this happening? Yeah, he's calling all the shots. Exactly. And unfortunately, they're not on camera, so we can't see the desperate looks that Katie's giving him, like, oh, fix this, change the story. I don't know.
Now, mind you, that was right around midnight, just before midnight or right around midnight.
Mm-hmm.
So then mom does go to bed and wakes up early in the morning to go wake her son up, get him ready for school. And now we have a worried mom who can't find her son in the house. Mom made an effort to look and search several times. Mom has.
And interesting that he keeps saying, mom this, mom that. Like, you weren't there. Why can't she speak? Yes, it sounds like he's producing a play. Right. Yeah. He's like giving the play-by-play, like, and then mom says this, and then mom turns her head this way and does that, right? Despite lying, attempting to control the entire YouTube narrative. Right. A thud is not a kind of thing you'd sort of space out as unimportant. Yeah. Not some ordinary sound to forget, like maybe trash truck dumping trash or your neighbor mowing the lawn. Right. Because the way that they talk about the thud in later interviews after this one, they, really emphasize, like, I never went to check on him, but I heard a thud around 10. How is she hearing this thud while she's on the phone with Chris? Must have been quite a thud. Her son, why not Sebastian? Yes, the way that he's saying, like, her son, the mom did this, her son, it's like distancing language in a way. Why is he speaking like that? Right. The mom. Very odd. Very, very odd. I can't stand the way that he has no emotion, anything. Mom, kids, son, use their damn names. Right. Back to the theory of Chris all involved. And you're entitled to your opinion. Okay, if it was a 3-hour phone call, what did they talk about? Right, exactly. Remember, NK couldn't remember what Chris and her spoke about. Interesting. Right. And I haven't heard anybody ask them in any of these interviews, like, what were you guys discussing? It sounds like they forgot what they have rehearsed before. I thought Chris was sneaking in the house. Remember, CPS case started in January 2024. Sebastian was supposed to be asleep. He wasn't. Sebastian says you were not supposed to be here. Thud happens. Perhaps. Lots of theories out there. We just don't know. He sounds like he's giving an interview. He's law enforcement giving an interview about the case. Yeah. We know all about avoiding names. Exactly. The thing that bothers me most is how they mock and speak negatively about Sebastian. They do. Their marriage was in trouble. Was he on dating apps? Is that true?
Called me at the time and asked me, she was like, I can't find him. I was like, do what? She goes, yeah, I cannot find him. I said, well, hang on. I made the phone call and reported it to the sheriff's department because that's what we're supposed to do. And within 10 minutes, the sheriffs were dispatched to the location.
Also, notice how he talks about calling the sheriff's office, but then in later interviews, they talk about how it was a 3-way call. Why doesn't he say that it's a 3-way call here, or does he? And I just haven't played it yet. Yes, Chris met. Yeah, remember, I do remember that. Okay, it is true. Heard that he was. I wish people took a screenshot. I'd love to see that.
And you had told me that there hadn't been any particular situation that had occurred where you felt like there would have been something that happened. And I also had asked you if there were any friends that Sebastian might have possibly left the house with, or if he had any contact with anyone on social media. Do you want to comment about that again?
He doesn't have a social media.
Okay.
And the only
Now's the chance for them to bring up, well, we did hear a thud, not brought up.
Friends that he had were a couple of kids in school.
Okay.
All the kids that have had any interaction with him have been interviewed and asked.
Okay.
We as parents know how social media can be,
Right.
and seeing how kids can be easily manipulated.
He's very young in mind.
Yes, he may be.
Right.
He's about 15, and he's 15 in age in his body, but his mind is not caught up to his body. But that is something that goes through with autistic children, as everybody would know.
Right.
But for the record, I am a very strict parent. He does not have social media, not in our household. He doesn't online game. I'm pretty strict when it comes to that kind of situation.
Well, that's good. That's good, Chris, that you have control of that, because social media can be very dangerous for young kids, because they don't realize who they may be talking to on social media. So it's always good to have that awareness and to make sure you're monitoring, what your kids are doing. So I had asked you both, did you have any idea what would make Sebastian want to suddenly leave the house? And you told me, well, that's the $1 million question that everybody wants to know. All the detectives, they've all asked that same question. What is it that happened that caused him to leave the house? And I know you must be so worried and so concerned. Is there anything, if Sebastian were listening to this live stream right now, if you knew that he was out there, what would you want to tell him?
That we love you and to come home.
I mean, it's pretty simple. This boy has a very large family that everybody is asking the question, where are you? We love you, and please come home.
Yes.
And then Katie states in later interviews that she thinks somebody took him. Remember? Doesn't she say that? Help me remember, guys, because we're going to go through all their interviews. We're just starting here. Yes, Holly says he abused the crap out of Sebastian and his ex's kids. Also, the women. Like, I'm just in disbelief over this. Right. And remember, did he say this boy? I missed that. Chris has to be the boss of everything. So Katie's over here, quote unquote, quote, crying, right? Chris doesn't break us, any type of sentence to be like, honey, it's okay. Shh, I got this. It's okay. Take a minute, gather yourself. He just continues with his narrative, right? Yes, he did say, oh my gosh. Terrible. Okay, yes, it was on the Nancy Grace interview that she said that she thought somebody took him. They keep pushing this. He walked out the door and then it turns into somebody took him. Somebody took him, and they're telling you now that this is a recovery process. Why are you not on media saying, whoever you are, we're going to find you. You took my son. How dare you? How could you do this? A law enforcement is telling me this is a recovery process. Nothing. Yeah, Chris is like a drone over Katie. It's creepy.
We definitely need to find him as soon as possible. If you live in this area, please search your property every day. He could be on the move. Just because you've already searched your property one time doesn't mean that you don't need to continue to search your property on a daily basis, just to be sure. If you have a lot of land, it needs to be searched, just to be sure, because he may be lost. He may be somewhere and he can't find his way back. So that's why it's very critical. Can you talk to me about the search and rescue efforts? Are they searching on land, air? They also have dive teams there. What can you tell us about that?
So currently, they, as of today, the National Guard was also brought in to help with the search, but they have had fixed wing aircraft, helicopters, horseback ATVs, side by side.
Just pausing it again. Another thing that I kind of felt was odd also is like they keep kind of reiterating, like, please check your properties, which of course is an important thing to kind of reiterate. You know, you just never know. Like, you just never know. But the way that like Katie kept saying it, like hand out flyers and check your properties. If, playing devil's advocate, if they know where he is and what happened to him, I feel like he's not going to be on somebody's private property. He's probably somewhere random, just not on somebody's private property, in my opinion, because they just keep kind of pushing that, like check your property. I don't know. It just kind of stands out to me. Just a little thing that kind of stands out to me. Hey, House Huddle, good to see you. Who is this interviewer? He's unfortunately not lost, right? He needs to be found and given a proper resting. It is Duchess. I will link her channel in the description box. But she did this interview 4 months ago, Holly. He's definitely keeping her story in line, in my opinion. Yep. And I wonder if that's why they haven't been speaking out, because it's too much pressure for Katie to kind of keep up with the story. Although at this point, you would think that they'd got it down pat. CP doesn't shut the F up. Katie should have been doing most of the talking. Right. Yeah, we're just kind of going back over things, Holly. So we're starting here with their first like YouTube interview. So that's without new information coming from law enforcement. We can just only comb through everything we've been given. Yes, I figured like you do too, ATS, that they are deliberately misdirecting the search. Whatever they suggest is going to be the wrong place to look. Yeah, feels like they know something. Exactly. And there was another thing that kind of was along those same lines is remember when that photo of Sebastian lookalike was floating around at that rest stop and Chris came on Crime Stories Obsessed panel all pissed about it and was like, why are people sending these tips to other people and not law enforcement? Because that picture came about in a Facebook group first. And it came from somebody who took the photo, who sent it to somebody, who then posted it on social media. And Chris was like, you need to bring that to law enforcement first, blah, blah, blah. And, you know, on the surface, that sounds good, right? Like, yes, bring it to law enforcement. Absolutely. But then when you think about it from a different perspective, like if he's involved, he would want some fake tip kind of distracting law enforcement and keeping them busy going down some avenue that is, you know, a dead end, because what do you know? It came out that wasn't Sebastian. So it was just interesting to hear Chris like very adamant, like if you see something and you think it looks like him, turn that over to TBI. And that's like what anybody would say. But if you're involved, you would also say that just so that it keeps things away from them looking at you, if that makes sense, guys.
Door to door, scouring every neighborhood possible. I mean, the outreach from the community and various counties has been extremely welcoming, loved. I mean, it's we've been told this.
Also have dive teams there. What can you tell us about that?
So currently,
that's good, Chris. That
at the time and asked me, she was like, I can't find him. I was like, do what? And she goes, yeah, I can't.
With him have been interviewed and asked.
Okay.
We as parents know how social media can be.
Right.
And seeing how kids can be easily manipulated.
Did you have any idea talk to me about the search and rescue efforts? Are they searching on land, air? They also have dive teams there. What's heavily involved in this situation and is aware, and he doesn't know where Sebastian is either, correct?
Correct. I mean, I can tell you this.
His father's very much involved in his life.
Yes, very much involved in his life. The relationship between all three of us as parents is not your common one. I mean, me and the father talk on a regular basis. We call each other, we talk. Hey, if we heard anything, how's he doing? Is he acting up? I mean, it's not, there's no really animosity in between the parents.
That's good. That's good. Discovering the truth. Thank you for being here. They say, did he have any special interest like trains, parks, friends, maybe a school bus route that he loved? My son elopes and loves trains, so he heads to the tracks.
He loves playgrounds.
Yeah, he loves playgrounds. I mean, he loves to play. I'll give him that. Friends wise,
He wants friends.
Sebastian, his idea of his friend is right now is what he has 2 kids that he talks to at school, but he is extremely socially awkward. And so it's very difficult for him to make friends, which has been this boy's only lifelong dream. He Christmas, what do you want for Christmas? I want friends. Birthday, I want friends. Anything that he could do to get a friend, he would love to do it, which
That breaks my heart. Asking for friends for Christmas.
is potentially dangerous because that could open up doors if for somebody to say, hey, I'll be your friend, and potentially cause harm.
Kim Holmes asked if there's any cameras in the area, and I did see, Kim, that they were asking for people that had any Ring doorbell footage or any businesses that had camera footage. Talk to us about that, Chris. We did speak about that briefly earlier about the people getting all the footage, but they haven't found anything.
Our entire neighborhood and surrounding neighborhoods have voluntarily and with generosity given up any video footage that they've got. And, I mean, they have let the apartments come in and view and monitor. So as far as cameras, everybody has turned over everything. There's thousands of hours of stuff that they are combing through to try to find an answer.
It looks like Tish is local to the area. She said, I go to the grocery store or anywhere and our eyes are peeled looking for him. I work at a local restaurant and I'm checking cars as they come through the drive-thru every day. Bless you, Tish. I know this family is very grateful. Discovering the Truth says, so he probably knows the route to his father's house, so maybe he was in the process of heading in that direction.
That has not been ruled out. I mean, like I said, the search that they are conducting is extremely widespread and thorough. So nobody is ruling that out as a possibility.
But normally when he wants to go to his dad's, he just says so. And we just call his dad.
Yeah, I mean, it's dad will come down here. We meet him halfway. I mean, he's never wanted to go to his dad's and not been able to go. Let's put it that.
And yet, remember when all this kind of happened and broke, Seth wasn't one of the first people in, the first 10 minutes even that they called law enforcement. Seth had no idea. And then they ended up calling him. So the delay in calling Seth to me has always been a red flag too. Because what if he was there?
That way.
Right.
I mean,
thank you for being a member for 6 months. All of this is very, very helpful to help us, better understand the situation that we're dealing with. And I did see a post on Facebook that it looked like everybody was asked to wear green on Friday because green is Sebastian's favorite color. What else can you tell us about Sebastian?
He is an avid Minecraft fan. Loves the color green. It's got the goofiest and quirky smile in the world. I don't think anybody could mimic it, to be honest with you.
He looks like he's such a sweet young man. He
loves to dance. That boy he'll dance his tail off. That's for
hey,
sure.
there's nothing wrong with that. Dancing is good for you. It's good exercise too. I just really hope they can find some answers. Now, I did ask you guys because I know that sometimes when we're looking for autistic children that go missing, a lot of times people are concerned that they may be attracted to go towards the water. So talk to us about that. Is he a good swimmer? Does he like to get in the water? I think you did mention some things about that to me earlier.
So he's a fish in the water. I'm gonna tell you right now that but here's the distinction. He is not a child that likes to get dirty. He can't stand his hands dirty. He can't stand bugs. He is fearful of flies and things. So if he swims, he is a pool kid. He's not I'm a river and a stream kind of kid. He is swimming pool bound.
Discovering the truth. I'm sure that they are probably looking into that. Now, I know that you said there was some misinformation that was going around and you wanted to make a clarification. You did tell me that TBI, was assisting, but that there was some confusion. People thought that FBI was actually assisting in this case. Talk to me about what you spoke about earlier to me on our phone call about how FBI is that they were consulted and the card team I guess there is a discussion going on as to whether he qualifies as for the child abduction response team.
So the FBI is not physically on the ground. Somewhere in one of the news clips, I think it was reported that the FBI had made it on the ground. They're not. TBI, Tennessee Bureau of Investigations, has reached out to the behavioral analysis team or their CART team, and they are trying to work with them from a distance. They're not physically present, to help in any way, form, shape that they can render their assistance.
Okay.
And remember when Secret Service was involved? Do you guys remember that? They never mention it, but do you guys remember when the media and everything was reporting that Secret Service was involved?
Okay. Light and sound, thank you for being here. Have burner phones been looked into? I know some teens sneak phones from their parents or maybe his computer use at school to see if he has been chatting.
Evidence of a secret phone.
Okay, good. Because digital evidence is really important. They want to make sure that he's not speaking to anybody. This is such an unusual case.
This case is extremely unusual. Like I said before, we are pretty strict when it comes to certain things.
I just hate the way he just said this case is extremely unusual. Like the way that he talks about this, it's like he's involved in like the investigation. It's like, no, you should be speaking as if you're the not mourning, because I don't know that it's a recovery process at this point, but like it just seems like he's so detached from any emotion, any connection to this being like with him involved. Do you guys get what I'm saying? It's like this case is extremely unusual. Like he's speaking like he's like a law enforcement officer or something. It's like, no, you're the stepfather. Like it's just like a weird phrase, I guess. I don't know. Laura Bell gets it. He's so full of crap. His eyes are brown. Hilarious.
as far as comms, communication, electronic devices, there was only one phone that he had. It was extremely locked down. He had access to his phone, his text message, to only his contacts list, a camera, and a calculator, and that is it.
He's a pretty happy kid usually.
He seems like it, and I know that you love him very much. I know that I can remember earlier in our conversation, you were referring to him as Bubba, and I think that's sweet. I call my son Bubba also, so that really tore at my heartstrings because my son, he's 30, but he's still Bubba to me. So that name is going to stick forever. It's just how it is. Cindy Caton, thank you for being here. She says, are there any old wells that maybe he accidentally fell in, or any areas or mines that he might be at risk of coming in contact with? I know sometimes those things occur out in Tennessee. The divers, have they found any possible leads? I know that I heard that there was a possible pond that they were draining. You did tell me they were searching all of the pipes.
Yes. So when it comes to address her question as far as wells and things, I'm sure there's plenty of those around here.
They're searching them.
They actually pulled data for all the caves, underground voids, all of that stuff that could be accessible. They've brought in teams from all over the state that specialize in either cave explorations, water recovery rescues. We don't know that they have drained a pond. I can say that much, but they have searched, they've dived them all for sure. They've walked, I couldn't tell you how many miles of creeks and waterways, and they've used cameras. The sewers, it's not really the sewers they're looking in. It's the drainage pipes. So that's for clarification. Sewer pipes, we're not going to find a child in. Those are enclosed and secured, but the runoff, water runoffs, were all searched by a dive team.
Okay. And I know Ginger Snap said as law enforcement looking into the possibility that he met a friend through Minecraft. I hope that they would just go ahead and vet all of that just to make sure, because you never know. I'm not really sure how all of that works because I'm not a gamer, but I know that there are ways that you can communicate, like via.
Any theory is possible and appreciated, Bella. I'm curious what the rest of chat thinks. She said, whatever happened, I feel it was around midnight, just the way they both are firm in saying midnight. Maybe I'm overthinking. I could see that being, again, anything's possible. I almost feel like it's the opposite of whatever they're explaining it to be. So they keep saying midnight, 12 to 6 in the morning, something happened. And they keep saying something else that they keep reiterating. Oh, that, search your properties, blah, blah, blah. I feel like it's the opposite, that it happened around before midnight and that he's not going to be on anybody's private property. But again, everybody's opinion is, up for grabs at this point because we have no idea what's going on. And I don't even know if law enforcement does. Hopefully they do. Sweet Crazy says, I think it happened before 9. Yeah, honestly, anything is possible. We just don't know. I think between 9 and 10. Hey, Cindy, good to see you. Okay, we're going to go for around 10 more minutes. We'll do 1.5 hours. Again, this whole interview is pretty long. It's almost 2 hours. 23 minutes was before they even came on panel. And then we've just been pausing it, obviously. But we'll be finishing it. We'll listen to more the rest of the week. And then I'll squeeze in like a Watts deep dive because I know you guys love the Watts deep dives we do. So let's continue.
Xbox because my son is a gamer. So, and Gabrielle, I believe that you guys were at the Costco on Saturday. That's when you took the picture of him, correct?
Yes, my
Okay.
wife was at Costco on Saturday.
Yeah,
The
not
shirt
Sunday.
that's in the flyer where it says Optimism was on a Saturday. They were
Okay,
at
good.
BJ's on Sunday.
Okay, and what
And
is
when it
that?
comes
Is that a
to
restaurant or?
no, they are all wholesale, like a commissary style stores where they sell in bulk.
Oh, okay, okay. So Costco
So
Saturday, BJ's on Sunday.
yes,
He
ma'am.
loves to eat.
Why do they do big bulk stores 2 days in a row? Does anyone else think that's weird, or is it just me? Costco and then BJ's back to back. Like, you would think you stock up as much as you can, and then you don't have to go to another store, let alone another huge wholesale store for a long time. I don't know. I just think that's kind of weird.
All the samples, and BJ's is new, so I took him.
You're a good mom.
And when it comes to like the one mentioned about Minecraft, like I stated before, he does not have any way to come with anybody on any form of online gaming. That is extremely restrictive. We don't allow that because of what can come of it.
They combed all of the electronics.
I can tell you this with no hesitation. Anything and everything we have given to the police and any other law enforcement to have them completely scan, validate everything, and they are currently. I mean, everything is empty. I mean, they were like, "You guys are pretty good at." I said, "Yes, sir. We don't believe in allowing the kids to communicate through social media or through any type of gaming."
Looks like Missing in USA says, why are they wanting camera footage from Sunday afternoon? Because
that we cannot release right now.
Okay,
That is not
I
something that
understand.
has been authorized us to
Right,
put
I
out to the
respect
public.
And we respect that 100%. Ginger Snap says, I was reading that his favorite song is Eye of the Tiger. That's a great song.
He's got an eclectic taste of music. He's a fan of Eddie Vedder. He
Oh, well,
likes
he's great.
Survivor. Oh yeah, I mean young man has a very eclectic taste in music.
And you told me that
Taylor
he
Swift.
Maybe it's just a Southern thing or whatever, but him saying young man has a very eclectic taste in music. Sebastian, can you say the name Sebastian? I don't know. Am I reading too much into like young man? I mean, we've heard him kind of use different names for him throughout this, like that boy. I don't know.
Swift,
loves to play chess.
Carrie Underwood.
And he loves to play chess,
He
right?
has a crush on Taylor Swift.
Ooh, he has her boyfriend better watch out then. Was 911 allowed to be called? Rhonda asks.
On the cell phone, is that what she's referring to?
Yes, I believe so. Is that what you're asking,
All
Rhonda?
All devices that have communications have the ability to call 911. Believe it or not, most cell phones that are not even connected to service have an ability to actually call 911.
Yeah, you can pick one up off the shelf at a store and most will call.
Yeah. That's become a federal thing. That's not a service provided. That is like a federal thing.
We wouldn't restrict safety features even if we could.
Yeah. Safety is not restricted in this house.
Okay, I do have one other question before I read what was his is saying. There was something I was going to ask you. Let's go ahead and do was his question right now. Shackle Island Road and New Shackle Island Road, are they in the same area?
New Shackle Island Road runs parallel to Long Island. Old Shackle Island Road is actually farther directionally. It would actually be south in front of the hospital, the Hendersonville Hospital. That is roughly, I think, 4 or 5 miles from our house.
Okay. Okay. That Single Mom, that's your favorite song too. Now, something I do want to ask you is, because I've been watching social media, because that's what I do. I share missing cases on lots of different social media platforms. And I was very disappointed when you told me that people were harassing you and attacking you. Is there anything that you want to put to rest while you're here tonight, or make clear to the public about this situation? I know you told me there was a statement that you wanted me to make about you and the mom and the dad. So if you want to make any clarification about that, you have free reign to do so. We will not allow you to be disrespected here on this platform.
I have no malice or ill intent toward anybody. Everybody has an opinion.
Of course.
But what is factual is that the father, the mother, and myself have been extremely cooperative. We have been vetted. We have been checked out. We have been questioned and everything of that nature, and literally have been cleared. There is no wrongdoing. There is
First interview stating that they've been cleared.
no negative input from the parents or any of the family. And it's hard for a lot of folks. I mean, I will be honest and say this out loud. I have a custody case that is currently going on in another state, which has been brought to public light because people feel that they want to judge and think that they understand what's currently going on, and they don't. Because of that, I am being looked at in a very foul way. I don't need to repeat anything that's being said, but
Right.
and
But
it's
people that are,
perfectly
there's
okay.
people that's probably seen it on social media, and I want you to be able to have the opportunity to defend yourself. We have 248 people watching right now, and I'm sure that anyone that's watching this on the live stream, please respect this family. I mean, you can't have an idea of possibly what they are going through, and it's really not any of your business what is going on. And I understand that you do see your other child, which, and that doesn't have anything to do with Sebastian. And you guys are on good terms with his father. There's not like there's any custody battle between the mother and Sebastian's father. I mean,
But there is a custody battle between Chris and his ex-wife, Nina, that we know about. Kelly Dime, good to see you. Has law enforcement stated that there are persons of interest or suspects, that they are persons? No, they have stated no evidence of foul play, but foul play is not off the table. So they're not ruling out foul play, but they have not listed the parents as persons of interest or suspects, but they have also not cleared them.
I mean, obviously, if he wants to see his father, you guys told me that, you just planned to meet up, and it's no big deal. So, I've read a couple of heinous things that people are saying, and it just really upsets me to know that people are just going to that without having all of the information and knowing that law enforcement has interviewed, interrogated everyone in your family. They have looked into you. They have all of your devices, and that they basically cleared you guys of any involvement in Sebastian's disappearance. And I just wanted the public to be able to hear you say that, because you do have the right to defend yourself, because it's not like you said earlier, it's not about you, it's about finding Sebastian.
Correct.
Yes.
And I just don't want to have people to be dragging you around on social media. Isn't it already difficult enough that your child is missing?
That's beyond words. This is a feeling that I'm gonna tell you right now, I don't
wouldn't
care.
wish this on
Nobody should ever have to endure. It is not something that should ever be wished upon for anyone.
Nobody should ever have to endure. What is endure? Oh, endure? Okay, Chris. All right, guys. So we are at hour and a half. There's still a lot to go in this interview. Duchess also has a second interview with them as well. So she's given me permission to go through those ones as well, which we will do. But yeah, I appreciate you guys being here tonight. Thank you everybody who hit the like button and people who just, interacted with chat. Replay viewers, thank you so much. I appreciate you guys. So I'm thinking tomorrow night we just continue this. So tomorrow's when? Thursday we usually do our Watts stream, our deep dives in the Watts case. So then we'll just continue this throughout the week with a break on Thursday for the Watts stuff. So appreciate you guys claiming to be cleared and not is very suspicious. Yes, it is. It's unsettling. But yeah, thank you to my moderators and everyone else. Again, this was, Keenly says, great to endure this with you all. Great. But yeah, I appreciate you guys. That just threw me off. I forgot what I was about to say, but that's funny. Yeah, I'll see you guys tomorrow night. We'll continue this. And then, like I said, we'll do a Watts stream and then back into Sebastian. We're going to keep up going through the interviews, and that's just what we're going to do. But yeah, thank you guys so much. Moderators, thank you, Skinny, for being a member for 18 months. I really appreciate that more than you guys know. You guys mean a lot to me. And we'll talk very soon tomorrow night around the same time, hopefully. So 8:30-ish, around that time. But yes, thank you. And yeah, we are praying for Sebastian. We are hoping that we get an update, something more than Seth is out looking. I'm happy that that's being reported and happy that that's taking place. Effort by Seth looks a lot better than no effort by the other two. Everybody is still a suspect in my mind, like including every parent involved in this, just because it's been like 4 months and we haven't had any development. So everyone is still on my radar, on my board as being, a suspect, but nothing has been named by law enforcement yet. So hopefully we get something from law enforcement. So see you guys tomorrow night. You guys have a great night. Bye.